Welcome to Work You Love, a Masterclass. 3 secrets to every successful job search or career change. Today you're going to be learning how to find or create the job of your dreams without the worry of wondering if you're going about it right or not. My name is Kitty Boitnott, and I want to welcome you to this presentation where you're going to be learning what you need to know about job search and career change. I am a member of the Forbes Coaches Council, a current contributor of Forbes.com, and in 2016, I was named one of the top 25 career coaches online by CareerToolkit.com. I'm going to be sharing my best information with you today, and I want to assure you that you're in the right place if you fit one of the following 3 scenarios. First, you hate your job, or maybe you don't hate it, you just don't enjoy it anymore, and you're ready to break free once and for all. You just don't know where to start. Or maybe you've been unemployed or underemployed for a while, and now that the economy's getting stronger, you're ready to make a move. But again, you don't know where to start. Or maybe you've been out of work looking for a job for a few months now, but your job search isn't going anywhere fast and you don't know what you're doing wrong. If you fit any one or a combination of those scenarios, I want you to know you're in the right place. And I want to share some good news with you, news that you may not have considered. You are the architect of your life and your career. I know sometimes it's easy to feel like you're the victim of circumstance and that you're being buffeted by the whims of this event and that event, but at the end of the day, I want you to know and understand and embrace that you are in the driver's seat and you get to decide how you proceed with your life. You are always at choice. You always get to choose your next move. Now that's the good news. The bad news is that sometimes choosing can be hard. Maybe you have more than one choice to make and you don't know which one to choose. It's like being at that fork in the road and not knowing which road to take. So I understand it can be confusing and it can be difficult. And if you are of a certain age, at a certain point in your career, you may well feel like you don't have time to make any mistakes. But here's what I say to my clients who tell me that they're often afraid of making a move because they're afraid of making the wrong move. So what? You learn from your mistakes and you move on. Mistakes are just learning opportunities and they're proof that you're trying. Now, I won't kid you. Job hunting is confusing and complex even in the best of circumstances. And everyone you ask will tell you something different, and that is even more confusing. That's why I don't recommend that you depend on your friends and family unless they happen to be career coaches, because so much has changed just in the last 5 to 10 years with relation to how to go about looking for a job, what kinds of information to put out there for people to be looking at regarding what you have to offer. So I want you to do yourself a favor and right now shut off all of your distractions, turn off the phone, close the door, get out a piece of paper, a pen or a pencil and start taking notes. I'm going to talk fast and I'm going to be offering you my best information. All of the information in this webinar, Masterclass, is free. Now, if you stick around, you're going to learn what you need to do in order to initiate a search in your location of your dream job or your dream career change. I want you to feel like this young woman looks by the end of this presentation. Like, yeah, you've got this. Here's what you're going to be learning from this presentation. The only way for you to find or create the job of your dreams is to know and understand 3 secrets to finding or creating your dream job. And I'm going to share those 3 secrets with you. along with a proven strategy for how to make it happen for you sooner rather than later. Now, as an incentive to get you to stick around until the end of the presentation, I have a free gift for you. It's one of the guides that I've written. It's called 10 Things You Need to Know If You Think You Are Ready for a Job or Career Change. It's a 95-page offering. It includes the 10 considerations you need to take into account, along with some curated articles that I've written over time. Now, fair warning, there will be an offer at the end, and I hope you'll stick around to hear what I have to say, because even if you don't decide you want to buy anything today, you'll be alerted as to what a program like this might entail, and you might learn something just from the offering. So let's start with why you should even be listening to me. Who is Kitty Boitnott anyway? Well, that's me at a press conference when I was serving as president of the Virginia Education Association somewhere toward the end of 2012. I was an elementary school librarian for most of my career. I had taught English for a little while back in the 70s, but most of my career I was an elementary school librarian, and then in 2008 I ran for and won the office of president of the Virginia Education Association. I served in that role full-time from 2008 to 2012. Now, I got exhausted from that job and decided that at the end of my term, I was too tired to go back to teaching, and I made the decision to retire early and to take some time off to think about what I might want to do next. In January of 2013, I joined a group coaching program. I hired a group coach, and then I started going to some networking events. At one event that looks similar to this one, I heard a career coach talk about the importance of following your passion and therefore finding your next job. And I remember thinking, well, that's what I want. I want to be able to do something that I love. And I was particularly struck by a statistic that career coach offered on the same day that he talked about finding your next job. He said that in January of that year, 2013, a Gallup poll had just come out that said that 70% of Americans hated their job. They either hated it or they were simply going through the motions. They were disengaged. And I remember thinking, I don't want to be a part of the I Hate My Job Club. And let me ask you, do you want to be a part of the I Hate My Job Club? I wouldn't think so. Who would? And yet 70% of Americans find themselves in that space. I knew by the time I was going through this particular transition in my life that life is too short for you to spend a single day doing anything you don't love. I want to be like this young woman, feeling like I've got this. This is something I really, really love to do. Now, for me, that meant reinventing myself. So I took some time to reinvent, retool, to get some new certifications, and ultimately to start my own business. That's how I know what works. And if I could reinvent myself at the age of 60, I guarantee you can reinvent yourself or retool yourself for whatever it is that you may want in your future. Now, I know that sounds simpler than it probably really is, and you may be skeptical that this won't work for you. But I guarantee, if you give yourself permission to explore your possibilities, it is possible for you. If you have tried and failed in the past, I want you to know it is not your fault. And if you're concerned that you can't succeed this time, in spite of previous efforts to succeed, put those fears to rest. I know you can do this. I want to encourage you to dream big, set big, audacious goals for yourself, and then assist you in taking the action that you need to take in order to make your dreams a reality. I'm the expert, and I will help you along the way, regardless of whether you are just starting out, which makes you the novice in this whole job search endeavor, or whether you've been at it for a little while now and you've already learned a little bit. Maybe you even need to unlearn some of that stuff. I will help you even if you've been searching for a while and you haven't been successful, but you are at the more skilled or even at the advanced level. I want to help you get to the ultimate goal that you've set for yourself. So are you ready? Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets of every successful job search or career change? They're not really secrets. But here's the first one. You have to know what you want. Let that sink in for a minute. The first secret of every successful job search or career change is knowing what you want. I know it sounds so simple, right? And yet, I know for most of you who are listening to this right now, you're thinking, wow, I wish I knew what I wanted. Most of you know what you don't want, but you're not nearly as clear about what you would like to do moving forward. You could give me a list a whole page long of all the things you never want to have to do again in your next job. But it's almost impossible for you to visualize for yourself what you would like to do moving forward. Now, that's not true for everybody. Some people have a very clear understanding of what they would like to do. They just don't think it's possible. For other people, the idea of moving into a good job where you really enjoy going to work, it's so far out of your experience you can't even imagine it. I get that. But that is the first secret. Know what you want. And if you are at a point now where you don't know what that is, then you've got some exploration to do. Secret number 2. You have to know how to use the different job search tools properly. And you have to be able to understand the protocols so that you observe them in the proper way. This is a complex endeavor that you're perhaps launching in on. I wish I could tell you it was straightforward. It really isn't. And it's kind of like playing a game. You've got to know the rules, and if you don't know the rules, you can lose quickly. The third secret. You must develop the determination, the perseverance, and the patience you need to put all of the tools together and develop a powerful plan of execution that you are ready to work day in, day out, unrelenting, never giving up, never giving in, never letting the rejection that you will no doubt feel, never giving in to the feeling that you're never going to be successful. The only people who aren't ultimately successful are the ones who give up. So you have to be determined. You have to be persistent. You have to persevere, even when you don't feel like it. That's the real secret. Like I said, I wish I could tell you that job search is straightforward, that all you have to do is decide what you want, know what the tools are, and boom, there you are. You're successful. It doesn't work that way. It's very competitive out there right now. The unemployment rate is low, which means a lot of jobs have been filled, and you are going to be going up against some fierce competition, which makes it even more important that you know exactly what you want and that you know how to use the tools that you need in order to get you where you want to go. But in between deciding what you want and learning how to use the tools, you're going to be in for a little bit of a rough ride, I'm afraid. Rejection is not fun, and you'll probably experience some of that. So buckle up and be ready for it. But it might help if you have someone to help you along the way, guide you through the maze, and hold your hand, cheer you up, offer support when things aren't going well. That's what a career coach can do for you. I have had the pleasure of working with a number of wonderful clients over the years, and this is an example of one of my favorite clients, Deanna Forsythe. Deanna wrote to me just a couple of days after she signed up for her program, and we had our first phone consultation. And she wrote in an email, "I have to tell you, the spring in my step is back. I am already feeling reinvigorated. This investment has brought remarkable value already." So let me ask you a question. If you followed what I showed you in the 3 secrets of successful job searching, along with helping you decide what you want, what tools you need, and how to develop a powerful execution plan, do you think you could be successful like Deanna was? Do you think you could feel reinvigorated and like you've got the spring in your step back? Of course you could. The first thing that is required, however, is focus. Focus on what it is that you want. Consider that it's similar to planning a vacation. Honestly, would you book your airfare and book your hotel rooms and not know where your ultimate destination was going to be first? Of course not. You decide where you're going, and then you book your plane fare and your hotel reservations. Now, you may take some little side trips along the way, but your ultimate destination remains the same. Your job search should be in the same category. Decide where you're going, and then write your resume, create your LinkedIn profile. Learn how to write a cover letter that people will read rather than to throw away, and develop all of the other tools you need in order to get you to your ultimate career destination. That's why I don't recommend that you write a resume until after you've decided where you want to go. What is it that you want to do? You have to be able to answer that question, what now, or what's next for you, before you can write a resume that will do you any good at all. That's my opinion. I do not recommend that you write a resume based on everything you've ever done in your past and then upload it into some nameless jobs board like the Ladders or Career Builder or ZipRecruiter or even LinkedIn, without knowing more specifically what it is that you want that resume to convey about you. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. And the same goes for your cover letter. If you write to "Dear Sir, Dear Madam, to whom it may concern," and simply regurgitate everything that's already in your resume and your cover letter, no one is going to read it. That's just a fact. So you need to know how to write an authentic, personalized cover letter that people will actually want to read. And you need a LinkedIn profile. This is not a nice to have, it's a must-have element of your job search. In fact, if you have a well-written, fully optimized LinkedIn profile, half of your work is done because recruiters will be looking for you. They will pick up the phone and call you to ask you, would you be interested in this particular opportunity? But you have to craft your LinkedIn profile properly in order for that to happen. You also need to be aware that future employers, potential employers, look at all of your social media platforms, wanting to know, who are you really? If you are a difficult, divisive person who posts a lot of explosive and divisive stuff on Facebook and Twitter, you're going to knock yourself out of the running. People want good team members, people who can get along with a lot of people. So, your other social media footprint needs to be rather generic unless you're looking for a job inside of a particular political or religiously affiliated organization. You have to know how to prepare for an interview, and this can be difficult if you haven't been doing it for a while. You don't even know how to begin to prepare for most interviews, how to make yourself stand out as a finalist, and how to close the deal. Let me just say this about the connection between your resume and your interview, too. The resume in and of itself will not get you the job. You close the deal on the job that you want in the interview. The purpose of the resume is to get you invited for the interview. So that is the connection. Some people think that the resume is what will get them the job. That is false. What gets you the job is how you perform in the interview. Now, I know it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to consider. If you are just starting out on this particular path, if you're just now considering that maybe you're ready for a job change or a career course correction, it's a lot to take in. I get that. I understand that. It all still boils down to, what do you want? And for people who are really struggling with that question, I recommend that you go back, think about, what did you want to be or do when you were 4 or 5 or 6 years old? What did you imagine doing? Now, maybe that's not going to help you that much if you wanted to be an astronaut when you were 4, if you wanted to be a firefighter when you were 4, and now you're 50. That's maybe not realistic. But there are other things that you can do that are related to those careers in spite of your age. So just go back and think, what did you want to be until someone told you you couldn't do it? They said no. You want to be a dancer? Forget it. You want to be a singer? No way. You want to be a writer? Get a real job. That's what people will tell you, because in our Western culture especially, we are so self-identified with our jobs and our careers, and we believe that the only way to be of value is to make a lot of money, to have a steady job. When I started out, my mother's big thing was I must have benefits. And so you get all kinds of messages as a child about what it means to work and what kind of work you should do. Unfortunately, a lot of people are ultimately forced into careers that they were never meant to be good at. But they went into them because they were going to be paid well, they thought, or it was going to have some prestige or status attached to it. That's the wrong reason to choose a career, in my opinion. Now that you are at this crossroads, if you are here listening to this presentation, you are considering the possibility of a job change or a career change. And so I will ask you to consider, what are you most afraid of? What has held you back up to this point? Why haven't you yet made the change that you want? And maybe it's just that you just recently decided that you're ready for a change. That's one thing. But if you've been thinking for the last 3 or 4 years that you're ready for a change, but you don't know what to do, what's holding you back? What's kept you from doing something different up until now? Is it the fear of failure? Because that certainly holds a lot of people back. Or maybe it's the fear of success. That's a real thing. Consider, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? Another way to ask the same question is, what would you do if you had money enough that money wasn't a consideration and you could do anything in the world that you wanted? Think about what that might be, what that might look like. And consider that it is a fact that we are moving into a different kind of economy, an entrepreneurial-based economy. Companies are going more and more to artificial intelligence and robots. So the chances of your finding a job, a good paying job on an assembly line somewhere, assuming that that's something you'd be satisfied to do, those jobs are disappearing over time. And a lot of people are thinking that instead of working for someone else from 9 to 5, perhaps they'd be happier doing something of their own creation, of their own doing, or perhaps partnering with someone in an entrepreneurial endeavor. We are definitely moving into an entrepreneurial-based economy. Now, the statistics I'm about to share with you come from a 2015 Intuit software study. So these statistics are already 3 years old now. But by 2020, according to Intuit, more than 40% of the American workforce, more than 40%, or 60 million people, will be freelancers, contractors, and temp workers. The report also says that in the next 7 years, so now we're looking at 2022, the number of small and personal businesses in the United States alone will increase by more than 7 million. And that means that full-time, full benefit jobs will be harder to find. Most of these businesses will be web or mobile based and will work closely with a global workforce. And more people than ever will be working remotely from home or a space of their choosing. In 2020, 1 in 6 Americans will be older than 65. But those Americans aren't going to be like the traditional retirees who go off to play golf every day or to sit on the front porch or to watch TV all day. No way. These seniors are going to continue to work full-time or part-time as long as their health holds out, as long as they're having fun. So what does all that mean for you? Where will you be in 2020, in 2025, in 2040? What will the jobs of the future even be? Of course, I know not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. That's just not in the cards for everybody, but a lot of people might be interested in that, while others are interested in working for someone else. They want other people to be the decision makers. And I'm not trying to convince you that you should become an entrepreneur. I'm just suggesting that that's a possibility. I want you to be thinking in terms of, what is your dream job? Do you stay in the same industry but perhaps look for a promotion or a lateral move in some way, perhaps going with a bigger organization or a bigger job within that industry? Or do you leave completely? You join the entrepreneurial world. It's up to you. The good news is you don't have to do anything immediately. You don't have to change overnight. I don't recommend that you go in and quit your day job tomorrow. I want you to be strategic, not impulsive, when making this important move in your life. The good news is that small steps do lead to big changes. Having said that, there's no point in delaying getting started either. The best time to plant a tree, they say, is 20 years ago. The next best time is today. So, let me share quickly the story of John Grisham, who's a perfect example of a career changer. And in case you don't know, John Grisham was an author. He's credited with having created the genre, the legal thriller. He was a lawyer in Mississippi in the 80s, and after observing a particular trial, he was inspired to want to write a book, a story, a novel. He didn't have time to quit his job and write full-time, however. He had a law practice to keep going. He had a family to support. And so he decided to commit to writing a half an hour a day, first thing in the morning. He went into the office early and he wrote a page or two on his book every single morning for 3 years before he finished it and got it published. And it was not an overnight success. In fact, it wasn't much of a hit at all. But by then he had decided he had the writing bug, and he kept with his routine of going into work every day early. He had an idea for another book, and he wrote that one and he published it, and it was a big hit. By the time his third book, The Pelican Brief, came out, he was well on his way to being a bestseller blockbuster author. He was able to leave his law practice behind, and now he's written over 30 books. He continues to write to this day. That first book, that wasn't so popular at first, became a big hit after he became more known for The Pelican Brief. That book was A Time to Kill. You may have read it or you may have seen the movie. The point is that John Grisham is a career switcher, but he didn't make his change overnight. He didn't do anything impulsive. He was strategic about how he went about making his change. He listened, however, to his inner voice, which is what I want you to do. If you have a passion about something, if you have an urge to do something that feels scary, a little bit out of your normal routine, I don't want you to ignore it. I want you to listen to it, because there may be something there for you to capitalize on. Now, I want you to listen to your inner voice unless it's the one that's telling you that you can't. Because we all have that little voice, the who do you think you are voice. We all have it. And if you listen to it, it'll keep you stuck right where you are. Perhaps you need to ignore it and consider the possibility that whatever it is that's going on inside of your head or inside of your heart, urging you to do something different, that perhaps you should listen to it. I love Janice Stanfield's song, What Would I Do Today If I Were Brave? I believe it's true that if you're brave, you can do anything you set your mind out to do. But you may not be able to do it alone. You may need help. I mean, after all, finding your dream job is worth doing whatever you have to do in order to make it a reality, don't you think? So let me share what I might be able to do to help you. I created a program based on Work You Love, the 3 secrets to finding your dream job or creating your dream job. It's called Jumpstart Your Job Search, and I offer it in a variety of ways, but today I'm offering the full program as a group coaching program that I would like to invite you to consider the possibility of joining. What you get with this program is lifetime access to a systematic approach to your job search or career change. It's a system that will help you to reinvent your career to meet your innermost needs and desires. I offer unlimited email support so that you don't have to tackle the program alone. For 120 days or 16 weeks, you have access to me through unlimited email support. And in this particular program, you will also receive 8 group coaching calls using Zoom technology as the video conferencing platform, and an invitation to a private Facebook support page. In each of the 10 modules, you'll see a video tutorial of me talking about the topic of the module, offering supporting materials in the form of recommended readings, exercises, assessments, activities, and templates. In Lesson 1, you'll learn how to manage your number 1 challenge, deciding what you want. And in Lesson 2, you'll gain the clarity and focus you need when looking for your next job or career. In Lesson 3, you'll learn the secret of writing a resume that will get you invited for an interview. This module includes a comprehensive, up-to-date list of all the resume do's and don'ts you need to know, along with contemporary templates that you can use and an example that you can follow. In Lesson 4, you'll learn to write a cover letter that people will read and not toss in the trash. There's a template in that module as well. You'll learn to understand the quirks of the applicant tracking system. You'll know how it works, and you'll learn how to work around it. In Lesson 6, you'll learn to create a compelling and personal, professional, online and in-person brand for yourself. And in Lesson 7, you'll learn how to create a standout LinkedIn profile, one that will appeal to recruiters. In Lesson 8, you'll create a research strategy and a powerful plan of execution so that you know exactly what you need to know before you ever walk into an interview, to interview for the job that you want. In Lesson 9, you'll have an opportunity to manage your social media footprint and investigate its effects on your professional online brand. And finally, in Lesson 10, you'll learn exactly what you need to know to prepare for an interview and then execute it with precision. There is also a bonus article about the importance of practicing patience and persistence and not giving in to panic. In the event that you can't attend a live call or you want to review the information from a live call, all of the group coaching calls are recorded, and you get the benefit of the previous groups that have already met and completed their work. I'm going to be starting my 4th group coaching cohort with this next offer. So you'll have the opportunity to listen to calls from the previous 3 groups. Additional components of the program are video reviews of as many resumes and cover letters as you want to send me, and a video review of your LinkedIn profile once you've built it and you are ready for me to review it and offer feedback on it. Let me tell you just about a couple of my early clients and the success that they've had. This is Brooke, and you can read about and learn about some of the other case studies from the website. So don't just take my word for it. You can hear in their own voices through the case studies how they felt about working with me and what success they experienced. But this is Brooke. She's my first case study and one of my early clients from all the way back in 2013. Brooke was a librarian at the time that I met her at a conference. She attended my workshop on work-life balance, and a few weeks later, after the conference was completed, she emailed me and said, I think I might want to work with you on career transition. I think I'm interested in leaving my current job for something else. So she hired me and we worked together on her resume. She added in some of the work she had done from William and Mary, where she attended as an undergraduate student when she majored in geology. A few months later, she had an opportunity to apply for a lateral transfer within her district, and she could possibly move from the school where she was to another location where she thought maybe the work conditions would be a little more conducive to her wanting to stay in the profession. And she went through that process and she was selected. She was told after she was hired that part of the reason she was selected above all the other candidates was that her resume reflected deep science background. And they were particularly interested in having a librarian who had a strong grounding in science because they wanted someone who could help their students learn how to research properly. So it was a perfect mesh of her reinvented resume and the opportunity that this new job offered. She's been there already for a few years, and in the case study, she offers how not only is she happy as a clam there, but she also now offers Mindful Mondays for students and teachers in her school based on some of the meditation and mindfulness work that we did when we were working together. So that was a nice surprise. I didn't even know until I did the case study with her. This is Nicole, or Nikki, who was a friend of Brooks, and I worked with Nikki from October of 2013 to the summer of 2016, where she finally found the job that she was looking for. Now, when we first started working together, Nikki was torn about what it is that she wanted to do exactly. She was able to describe what she thought she wanted, but she also felt conflicted about leaving her high school students. She didn't feel like that was where she was supposed to be ultimately, but she did have some guilt and angst about leaving the K-12 world, mostly because it felt safe for her and it was predictable. She ultimately found a job teaching at a university where she now has more of an impact on how chemistry teachers, science teachers will be teaching science in their own classrooms, and that's what she wanted ultimately to do. So that's what she found, and she was successful. Now, she turned down a couple of opportunities along the way because she was determined not to settle and to find something that would be truly meaningful for her. That's what I want for you. I want you to be able to find a new career, start a new chapter that feels complete and fulfilling and like this is exactly where you're supposed to be. That's what I want for you. Now let me ask you, based on everything I've said up to this point, what would a program that gave you a brand new lease on life be worth? Not what would you be willing to pay for it, but what would it be worth? A lot of people would say that a program like that is priceless. Like the Mastercard commercial, the tickets to the concert or the basketball game might be a couple $100s, but the experience of going with a loved one, priceless. Many programs that are similar to this one and offer similar information sell for thousands of dollars, quite frankly. And when I add up the individual components of the program that I've just described for you, it comes to over $4,000, $4,500 to be exact. But I'm not charging that. I'm charging for this next group coaching cohort $796 in one payment or $199 in 4 equal payments. Now, regularly I charge $997 for this program, but I want to give you an opportunity to get in at a rate that you might find a little more affordable than the regular rate of $997. So for this presentation only, I'm offering $796 in one payment or $199 in 4 equal payments. And here are the group coaching dates. I'm going to experiment with a Saturday cohort at 2 p.m. Eastern, so that would be 11 a.m. Pacific, on the following Saturdays: February 17th, March 3rd, March 17th, March 31st, April 14th, April 28th, May 12th, and June 2nd. Now consider, by the time this 16-week program is done, and we're talking the group coaching calls taking place every other Saturday, so you're not tying up every Saturday, and any Saturday that you can't be live at 2 p.m. Eastern, you have access to the recorded call. But consider that by starting in February, you'll be finishing up the first week in June, and you'll be armed with all of the tools and knowledge you need to start your job search throughout the summer, so that if you're a teacher, you may not have to go back to teaching in the fall at all. I know for the teacher folks who might be in this audience, that's a real plus. Now, I'm also offering as an added incentive, if you join this group for the February 17th start date, in addition to everything else I've described, the lifetime access to the 10 modules, the 16 weeks of unlimited email support, and the 8 group coaching calls, I will also throw in 3 private consultations that you can use at any time through the program for whatever purpose you want. Maybe you'll want to talk more about what it is that you really want to do moving forward. Maybe you want to prepare for an interview, so you want to go through a mock interview. Maybe you want to spend an hour on the phone going over line by line and element by element your LinkedIn profile. However you want to spend those 3 calls during that 16-week period, up to you, that they're thrown in as an additional bonus. Now you may be thinking, well, all that's just fine, Kitty, but what does it mean? What result will I see? And here's what I believe you will get from this program. You will have learned exactly what you need to know, and you will be armed with the exact tools that you need to understand, and you'll know the rules that you need to know in order to conduct a successful job search or career change. Once you've completed the program, you may not need me. You can move on your own, but you will still be armed with all of the tools you need to be successful. So if you think you'd be interested in starting this program with the February 17th cohort, go to teachersinTransition.com/academy, or you will also see to the right of your screen a pop-up page where you can just click on the button and go directly to the sales page. Now, I know that for a lot of you, you think, wow, Kitty, that's a lot of money. And I don't have $796 lying around, and I don't have an extra $199 a month in my budget so that I can sign up even on the month-to-month plan. And I understand that. I was a teacher too. I remember what it was like. I want to suggest to you, though, that the cost of this program is less than the cost of tuition for a lot of classes that you might sign up for at a university. And what you will get from this program is going to be more value in the long term than any class you might take at any college or university on the planet. And I say that because this program will help you to reinvent and retool yourself for a career in your future that will pay you more than you can even imagine right now, and will give you more satisfaction and happiness than you can even begin to imagine at the moment. So you have a choice. You can stay stuck right where you are, or you can make the decision to give this a try and consider that you owe it to yourself at least to explore your various possibilities. Now, if you aren't ready, it just means you're not in enough pain yet. But you may be later. Or you may think, well, I'm smart, I can figure this out on my own. And you probably can. But you'll lose valuable time, and you could possibly spend a lot of money trying to figure it out on your own. I did try the trial and error method before I hired my coach, and I might as well have flushed $400 down the toilet for all the good it did me. I paid someone $400 for a quote-unquote professional resume, a resume I've never used. I believe you need to know how to write your own resume. So I don't write resumes for people. I help people learn how to write their own. And the people that I assist are able to proceed with their job search or career change with confidence. They don't have to guess whether they're doing it right or not. Now, I will also throw in a bonus called Courage, Risks, and Rewards. This is a self-directed, do-it-yourself 5-module program that assists in helping you identify the risks and rewards of making certain changes in your life. Because what may be holding you back is your fear of risk, your fear of making that mistake we talked about earlier. But sometimes you have to weigh the risks versus the rewards. And in order to take some of the risk out of it, I will offer you a 60-day money-back guarantee. Now, the caveat to the money-back guarantee is that you have to participate fully in the program for the first 60 days, which means you will need to have completed half of the program and attended half of the calls, so that by the time you reach the 60-day mark or halfway through the program, if you can honestly say you're not learning anything and it's not helping you in any way, then you can ask for your money back. I am confident that if you participate in the program, you will get more than a $796 value from this program. I guarantee that too. But if you've participated in half of the program and still feel like you're not getting what you need, you just tell me what it is that's missing so I know how to improve, and I'll give you back whatever money you have invested so far. So you have nothing to lose. Now, if you have questions, I want you to call me at 804-404-5475 and leave a message. I'll get right back to you with an answer to your question, or you can email me at kittyboitnott@gmail.com. Let me leave you with the idea that someone said, it's been accredited to Albert Einstein, but I recently learned that Einstein didn't say this. But the saying is still valid, whether Einstein said it or not. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Don't give in to trying the same thing over and over again and not being successful in making the career transition you want, you need, and you deserve. I'm inviting you to join us. Join the group that will be forming. You can consider it a mastermind group, if you would. A group of people who will come together to synergetically assist one another in their career transition. If you are interested in joining the February 17th cohort, go now to teachersintransition.com/academy to get in on the $796 program, or $199 a month for 4 months. To recap what you get, you receive the lifetime access to the online, digitized, ever-ready program that's a $2,000 value. 16 weeks of unlimited email support, which is a $600 value. Video reviews of your resume, cover letters, and LinkedIn profile, a minimum of $150 value. 8 group coaching calls, actually probably more than a $400 value, but I just attached a $400 value to that. Access to a private Facebook page, a $500 value. 3 private confidential one-on-one consultations. That should say a $350 value. And when you throw in the bonus of the Courage, Risks, and Rewards, as well as the private consultations, we're now looking at well over $4,000. Henry Ford famously said, if you think you can, or think you can't. Either way, you're right. A lot of this has to do with your mindset, your ability to suspend your disbelief that you can have, be, or do anything you want. It's up to you to decide when you are going to start. I offer that there's no time like right now. You get to choose new life, old life, starting fresh, staying with what you know doesn't work for you anymore. I want you to be my next case study. Now, I told you if you'd stick around to the end, you could get the free guide to the 10 things you need to know. So email me at kittyboitnight@gmail.com to get your free gift. And thank you for staying around until the end. This has been a presentation of Work You Love, the Masterclass, 3 Secrets to Finding or Creating Your Dream Job.